Hello everyone! Welcome to the 58th episode of The Ruins of Warsaw. I'm Alexandra and I'm the storyteller.
Hi, I'm Dolores and I'm playing Janina from Brujah.
Hi, my name is Bea and I'm playing Bea and Janina. I've climbed
Episode
Malkavian.
of The Ruins of Warsaw. And as always, Partners is there
storyteller.
taking care of tech for
Hi,
us
I'm
and
Dolores and I'm
acting as
playing
keeper of the Elysium in the chat. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight for our first episode after summer break. The break took a bit longer than expected due to circumstances outside our control, but we are glad to be back now and continue the story of Bea and Janina. And because it's been a while, and we all need to remind ourselves what happened last time, including me, we will start with a recap, and please bear with me, I will hopefully not mess this up. So, last time, Bea was setting out to go meet with the Sabbat to celebrate the wedding of a Malkavian, Irmina, to Bea's mortal husband, Casper, along with Irmina's pack. She was doing it as part of her task to get close to the Sabbat, leading them to believe that she intends to release Arek, a Sabbat gangrel prisoner whom Bea helped to capture, and whose release she promised to Zimishi, voivode Lady Leocadia. Drawing on that promise and on Irmina's invitation to the Sabbat celebration, Bea got ready and set out to leave Hotel Bristol. She went to Fort Szczęśliwice, where she participated in the festivities during which Casper was married not to Irmina, but to the Sabbat pack, and was embraced and buried in the ground to dig himself out, while Irmina was crying the tears of joy. Bea connected with some of the members of the Sabbat. She spoke to Gravedigger, who told her she can always contact them by leaving a message at the fort, and with whom she discussed freeing Arek and looking for an opportunity to do so, since Gravedigger cared to get his pack member back. She briefly interacted with Ziemowit, Zimishi, and child of Lady Leocadia, who inquired about Janina, expressing a wish to hunt her. She spoke to Irmina, who thanked her for coming to the celebrations and advised her to quickly get married to the boy she likes because they will die soon along with the Camarilla. And not to be rude, Bea gave her her own locket as Irmina's wedding gift. Bea also interacted briefly with Casper, who seemed to recognize her but was very confused by the whole affair. She also drew attention of a young shovelhead Janko, who danced with her, and with whom she shared a drink of a person that she drained because she was too polite to refuse. That happened. And finally, Bea spoke to a woman who conducted the wedding and the whole celebration, a beautiful red-headed woman dressed in nothing but intricate jewelry, who at the end led Bea out of the fort. For Bea to start returning back to Hotel Bristol. And as Bea started walking, the crashing guilt about what happened to her mortal husband set in her mind and in her heart. And she starts crying alone, having left the Sabbat celebration behind. Meanwhile, Janina went to visit her lover Nastya, who was staying with the Brujah primogen, as always. Nastya was a bit nervous, but they spent some time together, and Janina managed to console her. Before she left, Janina spoke to Zygmunt, who was working on finding a cure for Zoya and other Brujah who have been in some mysterious way affected and hurt by an Assamite. And after a chat with Zygmunt, which also covered Janina's research and his belief again that the prince Katarzyna is the one who can make realizing his visions possible, Janina was preparing to leave, to return to Hotel Bristol or go to her ghouls, see to other matters. But before she could, she noticed that Nastya was very upset because she has just made a call that she didn't say anything to, didn't know why she did it. The two young Brujah alerted Zygmunt, who decided to leave and go to Hotel Bristol for the night for safety. But before they could leave, the darkness started spreading, first outside the house, masking everything outside, and then creeping in, covering floor, walls, swirling, twisting, and creeping further along the whole house. Nastya and Janina ran to Zygmunt, where the darkness coalesced into a tall, dark figure of a man whose eyes looked like windows into the abyss, who turned to Nastya and restored her memory of being a member of the Sabbat, at which Nastya, confused, frenzied, and Janina had to subdue her as the man who was darkness and Zygmunt engaged in the fight that was made much more difficult because something that Zygmunt kept in his desk for possibly such occasion for safety have been removed. Despite Janina's efforts to first subdue Nastya and then attack the darkness, she was eventually knocked into torpor, and the last thing she saw before that was darkness wrapping itself around Zygmunt and sinking its fangs into his neck. When she woke up, she saw Nastya over her, feeding her blood to wake her up, and begging the man who had been darkness, but now was the figure of a priest with a dark black collar. Nastya begged him to leave Janina alone, and he, not really paying much attention to Janina, agreed and left, taking Nastya with him. After which Janina, noticing Zygmunt's ashes, made a call, spoke to Clemens, a Nosferatu hound, to alert him to what happened, and he told her people were already on the way after Zygmunt alerted the Camarilla when the attack started. Janina then fed of the suffocated corpse of Zygmunt's ghoul, a woman she saw at this place several times before, and then sat by the wall, crying. And that is where we will pick up. That is where you are, Janina. You are sitting on the floor of Zygmunt's house. It is quite dark. There is some light from the street lamps falling through the windows now, but it is penumbra. You see broken pieces of furniture, places where walls have been smashed, dust on the floor. And of course, you see near the entrance to the basement where you know Zygmunt was trying to get to his supply of white phosphorus. You see his ashes. And you remember, as you cry, the darkness wrapped around him and devouring him. You remember Nastya begging the man who have been the darkness to save your life, even though you didn't want to beg. She did, and she cried. But then she left with him, leaving you there.
Okay, I'm probably sitting and thinking about what happened. In between crying, and I can't believe that Nastya's gone, and that Zygmunt's dead, and I feel desperate and really alone, and I honestly can't wait for someone to come, so I wasn't alone in this house with my thoughts.
So some time passes, and it feels very long, although it might not be. And then you hear an engine of the car outside stopping not far from the house. And you hear the door to the car open and close again.
I will get up and get to the window to check.
So as you get to the window, you see just gotten out of the car are Antoni in his long military coat, looking over at the house. And near him is Mr. Cernovsky, the Tremere, wearing not very well-made but decent suit. And he's leaning towards Antoni, saying something very softly, also looking over the house. And you see Jagoda, the gangrel, who is just in her shirt and trousers, looking like she didn't even bother to grab a coat or any other clothing. And she is gesturing towards the house, making as if she was to go inside. She's looking agitated, and holding her arm, holding her back, is Daniel, who's also looking at the house with anxiety, but holding her arm, stopping her from going in.
I will go to the door and open for them and wait for them to come.
So as you open the door, they all look towards you. And at this point, Daniel, startled, lets go of Jagoda, and before anyone can do something, she runs up to you. And she's looking around in this like almost baring her teeth, slightly inhuman, slightly animalistic way, and asks, "What happened?"
Zygmunt, he's gone. He's dead. The darkness killed him. It was the Sabbat. I tried to help him, but I wasn't too strong. And I went into torpor, and when I woke up, he was already gone.
Well, perception and empathy. Difficulty 6.
Okay, it will take me a while to remember everything. Okay. Difficulty 6, then I have 1 success.
1 success. So you do see that for Jagoda, you keep speaking, but from the moment you said Zygmunt is dead, she doesn't hear. She doesn't seem like she's hearing anything you're saying after that. And you do see that she starts shaking. She doesn't quite snarl, but she bares her teeth. You see her fangs are out. And then tears, bloody tears, just start streaming down her face. And you see that she is on the brink of frenzy, but she doesn't frenzy. And behind her, you see Daniel, similarly tense, staring into the distance. And you know him, he's doing all he can to hold himself together.
I probably look between all of them and probably most looking at Anthony. And I will tell him that Nastya's gone too, that she was apparently a Sabbat.
Right.
That the man, I will tell him that the man, the darkness, who then became the man, restored her memories. And in that moment that she remembered, and that she was most likely a Sabbat that was put here probably for this reason. But I'm probably very agitated when I say this, and I'm trying to hold myself together not to cry, but I'm probably shaking. And
roll your self-control to see if you don't cry. I'd say difficulty is 8 for this.
Oh no! 3 ones and no success.
You start sobbing there as you're speaking, as you remember it all. You try to hold yourself together, and then you're shaking, and then you just can't control it anymore. And you start sobbing just there at the door to the house. You just hear Yagoda, as you were saying, of Nastya, make this angry sound. Say, I'm gonna kill that fucking cunt if I find her.
I'm not saying anything, but
She's not really saying it to you.
Okay.
She's just sort of saying it into the distance.
Yeah, but I made no comment about this. And I just look at Anthony and probably at Daniel now when I'm sobbing.
Daniel comes up to you and puts an arm on your shoulder and just says to Anthony, you go on, I'll make sure she's okay and talk to her. And you hear in his voice that he's barely holding it together himself, but he is. Anthony just nods his head, and then they walk past you. Anthony, Mr. Cernovsky, and Yagoda. And you stand there just outside the house, Daniel.
I will lean into him and embrace him and just sob into his neck.
You start sobbing into his neck as he embraces you. Somewhere from inside the house, you hear the sounds of another argument. Yagoda just exclaiming, show some fucking respect. And then Mr. Cernovsky replying very calmly, I am sorry for your loss, but I need to find out what happened so that we know what we are up against. And then they start conversing in quieter voices. You hear steps of someone moving around the house. You hear Anthony step out and start looking around the area. But he's leaving you with Daniel. As Daniel's holding you and you are sobbing.
I just can't believe that Zygmunt's gone, and I can't believe what happened with Nastya. I never thought that, but it's not her fault. She tried to help. when I was awoken from torpor, the man, he wanted her to kill me, but she didn't, and she begged him to spare me.
Well,
I
I'm
had to
glad
save
you're
her.
still here. But you see him tense up as you're saying that it's not her fault. But he doesn't say anything. He's just kind of tense.
I just wish I could help Zygmunt. I really wanted to, but I didn't really have a chance.
No. Fuck whatever could take Zygmunt.
It was so scary. He was looking for something that he thought that could help him, but it was gone. I'm not even sure what it was, but someone took it. It's not there where it's supposed to be. I'm not sure if it was Nastya or someone else.
Shh. Just holds you closer. I'm glad you're safe.
I can't believe it.
Neither can I.
What's going to happen now?
I don't know. I don't know, Janina. We're gonna... That man, do you have any idea?
He looked like a priest, but it's not the same priest that me and Bea met before.
Right.
Other than that, well, he's La Sombra, but that's all I can tell you about. I wish I knew more. I guess Nastya didn't call him by a name.
No, she did not. Daniel's nodding his head, listening.
And I probably try to retell him what Nastya and the man were saying to each other, or what he was saying, if maybe it will mean more sense to Daniel.
Daniel is sort of nodding. You see that he is trying to look calm, and he's holding you quite tightly in embrace, just looking to you and then hugging you again, nodding his head. I'm so sorry, Janina.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. I'm sorry too.
And is that everything?
Yes, I think yes. If I remember anything else, I will tell you, but this is all that I remember happened.
Right. Oh, well, share it with Antoni later.
I will also tell him about the lead up to the attack, the call, that Nastya received a call. That's probably important.
And you think she doesn't know?
No, I'm 100%. I know her. I think her memory was just gone, and she was so worried all the time. I don't think she knew. It's really not her fault. It's not like she had a say in this.
Okay. I'm sorry. And he just hugs you very tightly.
I embrace him back and probably start crying again.
And as you cry, he just holds you close to his shoulder and doesn't ask you anything more. You feel he's also tense. And hugs you very tightly. And you stand there in front of Zygmunt's house. Meanwhile, there, you are walking through the city that's covered in snow. It is a clear night now. You see the snow glittering in the moonlight, looking almost silver in empty streets. It looks pretty in a way, in a strange, desolate way, because the streets, the buildings, the city are still in ruin, although they're covered with almost an ornament of silver. It is very quiet. Occasionally you hear the wind. Occasionally you hear footsteps from somewhere afar, but you don't see anyone as you're walking through empty, ruined city. Where are you going?
Walking back towards the hotel. I think it's that my feet are just carrying me there. I'm almost not really thinking. I'm just seeing Casper's face as he's thrown into the dirt, and then the feral expression as he frenzied after clawing his way out of the dirt.
And you feel the guilt. Sorry, we're gonna continue.
I don't remember.
No. You feel the guilt when you think about Casper, twisting your insides, feeling you completely. The guilt for what you let happen to this man, whom you didn't really remember. He felt like a stranger. But you know, you must have been close to him once. Do you hold on to these memories? Or do you want to let them go so that they are forgotten?
I think I'm actually struggling to let them go right now. I'm kind of clinging on to them. This desperate grip, as much as it's hurting me. And yeah, I don't think I think I'm just kind of clinging on to it, trying to remember who he must have been to me. Although I can't.
You can't. You just remember his confused look as Irmina walked with him towards a makeshift altar. Irmina's fangs in his neck, his frenzied expression, and then his confused look when you spoke to him, when he was already a member of your clan.
And I think the only reason I'm not crying is that I've kind of cried myself out.
And you are walking with those thoughts through snow-covered streets, getting closer and closer to Hotel Bristol, almost on instinct, not really sure where you're going. And then you see the tall silhouette of the hotel, lights in many of its windows in the distance.
And as I'm approaching the light, I think I kind of glance down and I realize that at some point during the walk I must have dropped off the skate because I'm just covered in dirt and ash and probably some blood.
There is some blood staining your dress. There is some blood around your mouth. Some would have fallen around your neck There is a little bit of blood on your hands.
And so I focus as I'm approaching, and I would like to activate Mask of a Thousand Faces, but just make myself look like me, but clean, if that's possible.
Of course. That's manipulation and performance. Difficulty 7.
I have 1 success.
That's enough to make yourself look like you, but presentable. Not covered in blood, not smelling of smoke and bonfires and blood. And you approach the door of the hotel. Even through the door, you see that it's already a bit late. The cafe is already closed, so there's someone sweeping the floor, cleaning the tables right now. And you step into the hotel, and please roll your perception and occult with difficulty 8.
Perception and occult. I have an 8 and a 10.
All right. So, you step through the door of the hotel into the empty lobby, and you get this feeling of being sheltered, of separation of this place from something that's raging outside. And you look around and you get this overwhelming sense that something is about to break. The peace is about to be shattered. There is a chaos waiting outside, a storm about to hit, and nobody in here realizes.
And in that moment, I just feel so lost and so vulnerable. And I just kind of glance around and maybe see just like a mortal staff member or something, unless there's someone else there. But
there are mortal staff members. There is a ghoul at the reception.
But they're not really... They're mortals in my mind. So I hurriedly walk up the stairs towards my room, needing to get somewhere safe before the flood comes back and I start crying again.
So you go to your room and you cry. And what's running through your head as you're crying?
I think Ermina's words about how you should marry the boy that you like before he dies. Also, still have no real idea what she's talking about on that front. There's just the knowledge that the Sabbat is going to be closing in on here, and the fear that people that I care about are going to die, but that there's nothing that I can do about it, and wanting to save people, but also wanting to save Arik and feeling like a traitor and feeling like a coward. And part of me wants to run, part of me wants to just leave this place, but I don't know where I'd go. And I mean, nowhere's ever felt safe. I don't really know what safe feels like. But I'm just so tired of feeling like everything's about to fall apart around me. And as I'm thinking, I've dropped off the skate again now that I'm safe. And I've just gone through to the bathroom. Is it a bath or a shower that we have in the rooms?
You have a shower.
And I just end up stepping into the shower fully clothed and just letting the water run over me. As I just sob.
And you see the water mixing with your blood tears at your feet as you stand in the shower. Meanwhile, Janina, you stand there sobbing into Daniel's shoulder. Some time passes. I imagine you're not much paying attention to what's happening around. You hear some footsteps, some words. Antoni's walking past. He begins to say something to Daniel, but then Daniel just makes a gesture to him and he goes into the house. And after a while you feel yourself, maybe out of tiredness, come out a bit. You don't really feel better, but the tears stop. You can control yourself again. And you see stepping out of the house is Mr. Cernovsky, and he's holding several books, looking quite old, quite fragile. You see the letters in the alphabet you don't know on the covers, on the open pages as he shows some of it to you. And ignoring Daniel completely, who gives him an angry stare, Mr. Cernovsky comes up to you, shows you one of these books. Miss Wozniak, do you know what the primogen was working on?
Do I know?
Oh, you know he was working on helping Zoya.
Okay, yes. So that's what I will say. That I think it's related to what happened to Zoya and
Roll
okay.
actually perception and empathy with difficulty 8.
Okay. 2 successes, 10 and 9.
So as he asks the question, before you can answer, you feel that Daniel tensed up and like slightly pull you back, as if he like felt it's not a good idea for you to say.
Okay, in that case I will say I'm not sure. Sorry. I have no idea.
Roll manipulation and subterfuge.
I'm gonna blame Daniel if the lie won't stand.
Difficulty
okay.
is 6.
Well, no success.
Mr. Cernovsky looks to you, looks to Daniel, and he looks into your eyes, wanting to say something. He opens his mouth, and at this point, you see Jagoda step out of the house and grab him by the shoulder, pulling him back. What the fuck do you think you're doing? Mr. Cernovsky looks to her. At first a bit startled, but mostly unfazed. I understand. You are under a lot of stress right now, and I am sympathetic to your grief, but we need to get on with our work. See, Jagoda just moves to start pulling some of the books out of his hands. Leave it! How fucking dare you! You touch anything else, you try to take anything else, and I rip your throat out. You see Daniel, like, he lets go of you and he's like moves to grab Jagoda. And she's just looking angrily. Her fangs are still out, and there is something to the way she moves, the way she looks that isn't entirely human looking. Looks like she is acting on instinct in some way. She's baring her teeth as if in a threat. Mr. Sarnowski, as she's still holding him and trying to pull the books from him, he doesn't quite let go. He just keeps holding on. But as she pulls more strongly, he lets go of some of the books. One of them falls to the ground. He rolls his eyes slightly. Jagoda. If the primogen was working on something important, it is important that this work continues for the good of us all. And he glances to you as well, Janina, as he says this. Jagoda just stares at him. There are still tears on her face, and she doesn't look subdued. At this, Antoni steps out of the house, asking, "What is going on?" And he looks to this. Looks to Mr. Sarnowski, looks to Jagoda. Mr. Sarnowski just realized to him that he found those texts spread it out on the table, and he thought it was important to continue this work. Jagoda just looks at him angrily and starts crying. Antoni places a hand on her shoulder and says, "Jagoda, I know. He is right, and you know he is right." And he just looks at Mr. Sarnowski. You better make good use of it, and you better make sure it's for the good of all of us. And she lets go of the book. She pushes him slightly, not quite so that he falls, and then she steps away. Antoni looks to her, comes up to her, and then he closes her in an embrace and says, "I know you are hurting, but you can't be doing this." And she just buries her face in his shoulder for a moment. Daniel is observing this. Mr. Sarnowski picks up the book that fell to the ground and places them all just on his arm to take them. What are you feeling about this? What are you thinking?
Oh, I'm thinking that it's good. It's not me who's causing a scene for once. I keep in mind what Zygmunt was telling me about the Tremere, but I also think that Zoya needs help and that maybe he could continue the work and help her. So I probably glance between everyone, but I look at Daniel probably the most, because it was because of him that I hesitated.
Daniel seems to be looking to Jagoda with concern. Like, you get a sense that he's paying attention if he's gonna need to, like, intervene physically if she loses control.
Okay. Well, then I continue with the scene, and once it's all calmed down, then I just wait if Mr. Sarnowski will resume his questioning.
He does indeed, as Daniel is distracted. He comes up to you. Miss Wozniak, I know. I'm sorry to have to insist in such a moment, but I really must know if there is something of urgency.
I'm not sure. Maybe it's related to helping Zoya. I think he was trying to... I'm not sure if this book is related to that, but I know he was trying to find a way to help Zoya and what's happening to her after the attack.
Zoya, the Anarch.
Yes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
How do you feel having told him?
Unsure? Because I just don't know what else to do, because Zoya clearly needs help and he's clearly capable. I just hope he's not going to hurt her instead, but so far Mr. Cernovsky or any of the Tremere in the Camarilla didn't make me feel unsafe. So besides what Zygmunt said, I have no personal reason to distrust him.
No, you don't. You see that Daniel comes up to Jagoda and starts holding her shoulder together with Antoni, and she calms down slightly. And then Antoni, the sheriff of the Camarilla, since very recently, says, I think we're done here for now. I'm going to make some calls once we get back to the hotel. We should get back. Jagoda says, I'm not going back yet. I need to have a look. I need to see if that someone's still here, somewhere close. He could be close. Antoni looks to her. There is some softness in his face, some concern. Jagoda, I know you don't want to leave here, but it's a dangerous, delicate situation, and we need to stick together. You will be able to return if you wish. Take whatever you want. And she's clutching her fists, but she nods her head. Antoni looks back to you, Daniel, Mr. Cernovsky. We should get going. Janina, I must ask you to not tell anyone else what happened for now. Can I trust you with that?
All right, I won't tell.
Thank you. And this Daniel says, we need to tell Isidore. And then he kind of glances to him. Daniel just says, we need to tell him. He has the right to know. And Antoni considers for a moment. And roll your perception and empathy. Difficulty 6.
4 successes.
4 successes, all right. So you see, as he's about to answer, he glances to the side toward Mr. Cernowski. With certain surprise, Mr. Cernowski just stands there. You don't see much from him, but he does meet Antoni's eyes. And you see Antoni, this understanding in him, and then growing self-disgust. And then he answers, all right, you may tell Isidore. He looks to you, Janina. Will you assist in that?
Of course, I will.
Then you may tell him. But for now,
sorry, can
right?
you
No
can you
worries.
please repeat? I had to get rid of
Well,
the cat.
he says you may tell Isidore, but for now, except for that, just keep it to yourselves. I will need to speak to the prince first.
Okay.
Right, he glances at the house, and there's this dark look, and you rolled pretty well on empathy, so you see there is this feeling of self-disgust that started when he exchanged glances with Mr. Cernowski. And then you see that he feels overwhelmed. There's this dark feeling of hopelessness, and he's looking at your primogen's house. And then he straightens himself and starts leading the way to the car.
Am I gonna inherit that house? No, I'm not asking. It's me. I'm just curious.
We'll get to that. Or no. And Antoni leads you all towards the car, gesturing for you to follow.
I will follow. I probably stay close to Daniel.
You do. You see Mr. Cernowski get in at the front, and you can squish at the back with Daniel and Jagoda. Daniel is holding your hand, hugging you again. Jagoda is just looking out the window, and then as you're driving away, she looks over the shoulder and looks through the back of the car back at the house, and tears start running down her face again as you drive towards Hotel Bristol. Meanwhile, Bea, you've been crying in the shower. Water is dripping down your body, washing away your tears, dripping from your wet dress, from your hair.
Eventually I turn off the water. Go and change. Scrub my face properly in the sink. And then just end up standing in this room, the main bedroom, staring around, not really feeling like I'm there, just feeling so overwhelmed with the sensations, the memories of that night, and the feeling that there's things that I'm not recalling. My eyes land on my journal. And I figure that I should probably write something down before I forget. But I just stand there and stare at it. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to commit this down to memory. I'm just kind of hoping that this is a bad dream that I'll wake up from.
And you stand there for some time. And there is a knocking on the door as you are looking at your journal.
Who is it?
Beatrice, it's me, Joachim.
I would like to once again use Mask of a Thousand Faces to make myself look slightly more like someone who hasn't just been crying in the shower for the last however long.
Manipulation and performance. You have 3 obfuscate, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll probably see through it, but I'm putting an effort in anyway.
That's fair.
Sorry, what was the difficulty? Was it 8?
7, sorry.
Okay.
I might have said 8, but it should be 7.
I don't know. That's 3 successes.
3 successes. Okay. Let me just make one roll. Okay. Right. Okay. So
I
you
will go and
come up to the door.
Yeah, I'm gonna open the door and have the image of me that's kind of superimposed over my face. Put on a charming smile. Which I don't think I'm kind of trying to mirror the expression underneath, but I don't think it's quite the same. It's very much a hollow attempt underneath the illusion.
Joachim opens, looks at you as you open the door and smiles at you. Well, I was told by the girl downstairs that you returned. I was looking for you.
What can I do for you?
I think it's more about what I can do for you. I think I'm ready to try looking for your sire. Could do it tomorrow.
Of course, yes, that would be perfect. Thank you.
It will be a bit of trial and error. Roll your self-control and manipulation.
Oh shit. Self-control and manipulation.
Difficulty 6.
Does misdirection come into this?
I don't think so. I think it's more controlling your voice rather than trying actively to misdirect somebody.
That's fine. 7 successes.
All right. Well, in that case, you appear perfectly composed. It seems he doesn't seem to have realized anything. He just keeps talking. Well, it's going to be a bit of trial and error. But I read the instructions, and I think I'm ready to give it a go. I suppose that's the only way to find out if it will work.
That's great news. Tomorrow?
I'm going to need something of hers.
Right, of course. One moment. And now? Or?
Oh, no, when we do this.
All right,
I think we were going to start from, someplace you thought she might have been.
All right. I'll look something out this evening then. And bring it with us.
Well, that will be very helpful. And tough looks to you. Had a nice evening?
A work evening.
One of those.
Mm.
Well.
Underneath the mask, my face is just a mess.
I'm sure it is. But he doesn't notice. And he just says, well, I won't impose. It is getting fairly late. And I need to maybe take myself through the instructions again. Practice as much as I can without doing the real thing.
I hear practice makes perfect.
Yes, I've heard that.
Well, best of luck.
Thank you.
Have a pleasant evening.
You too. And I'll see you tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
And he leaves.
And the moment the door closes, the illusion just drops. And I turn and mechanically sort of walk over to my journal, open it to the latest page, and write down what the plans for tomorrow are.
Do you write down anything else?
I think not yet, because I'm going to look out something of Felicia's first, but I think I've been slightly rocked out of the dissociating stage, so I'm feeling slightly more able to actually write it down.
So you can find something of Felicia's easily enough. There are her clothes, her books of poetry, some of her jewelry, some of the makeup that she used.
Whatever feels the most her to me, I think. If there's anything that really draws my attention from it.
There would be, I imagine, would feel the most her. I can't think of what would be the most Felicia at the moment. There's many things. I think something she uses, like a hairpin that she uses to pin her hair, one of her hairpins is still there.
And I tuck that into my journal. And then once I've prepared that, I start writing. And I maybe don't write about my confusion or my self-doubt, but I write about Casper. I write what Ermina said to me. And I write Arek's name.
And how are you feeling as you're writing?
Disgusted with myself. Scared. Hurting. And most of all, I feel horribly alone. I don't think I've ever really felt more alone.
And you sit alone in your room with that feeling of overwhelming loneliness. Meanwhile, Janina, the car pulls up in the parking near Hotel Bristol. And Tony, before he gets out, he just turns around in the driver's seat to look at you and Daniel. All right, here we are. This stays secret until it is deemed appropriate to share more wildly. I imagine that will be soon, because we have to move forward. But we need to do this properly. And he glances to you the most, as he says that. Daniel, take Janina, go to Isidore, tell him what I just told you. I imagine he will tell Zoya that is okay, as long as they keep it to themselves. Looks to Jagoda. Jagoda, I know this is difficult, but take a moment and then be ready to speak to whoever we need to speak to. He looks to Edwin Cernovsky and just says, you come with me. And he leaves the car. And Edwin follows after him. Jagoda also gets out of the car, and Daniel does, instinctively helping you get out.
I get out and I look at him. Let's go then.
Let's do this. Well, you must know how he might respond. We need to be ready to... If he frenzies, just grab him and hold him down until he regains consciousness.
Right. I'm sure that together we can do it.
If need be, we have to. You see that the other three have already gone into the hotel. Right, let's go. And Daniel starts walking towards the hotel.
I follow him and I'm anxious because I don't like to be the bearer of bad news. And I care about Isidore and I know that it's gonna hurt him. And also I know that I can tell Bea, but it's gonna be difficult. So I probably will try to avoid her, but at the same time I know that I should check on her because I know that last time I saw her, she wasn't doing well.
You remember that there was something wrong, definitely.
Yeah, but I'm putting that on the back of my mind right now, and I want to be strong when we are facing with Isidore and telling him what happened.
And you follow Daniel, who walks to the room in the basement where you know Isidore and Zoya are staying. And as you're coming up to the door, you do hear this bitter laughter that you recognize as very much Zoya's through the door.
Oh, no. That laughter is gonna go cold very soon.
Likely. And Daniel knocks on the door. And then opens it. And he doesn't really step in. He just stands in the door frame, leans in, and says, Isidore, we need to talk. Isidore kind of looks, almost gesturing for him to come in. Daniel just stands there. You should come with us. We'll find some room.
I look at Isidore and I give him a very sad half smile for encouragement. But there is sadness in my eyes.
What do you want to convey?
that it's important and
Yeah.
that I'm there for him.
I want your charisma and persuasion. Difficulty 6.
3 successes.
3
9,
successes.
6, and 7.
He meets your eyes and nods his head, then he leans to Zoya. Are you gonna be alright? And then she just says, I'm not a baby. I'll be fine. You don't have to watch over me all the time. And he just places an arm on her shoulder. She winces in pain a bit. He looks like concerned, but then she just waves at him to go. And Isidore steps out of the room. Daniel looks to him and just says, come, let's find somewhere quiet. And he leads you around the corridor and just towards another room in the basement that when you enter it, it looks like currently not massively used storage place. There is some bedding stored there, but it looks kind of old, like maybe the old stuff, old supplies from the hotel that aren't used currently. Isidore just kind of glances around. Well, I have a feeling I'm not going to like what I hear. Just say it.
I look at Daniel and I hold his hand and I sigh.
Daniel looks down for a moment and looks into Isidore's eyes. Perception and empathy on Daniel. Difficulty 6.
Okay, 1 success.
1 success. Yes, enough. That was not a good roll. So you do see that he is scared, both because he knows this will hurt Isidore, and he's also scared of how that might go in practical terms. Like he's bracing himself for a physical fight while he has no energy. And he's hurting, and he almost doesn't want to say it. Doesn't know how.
If I see Daniel struggle, then I will take the lead. I will look into Isidore with a very soft, sad eyes, and I'm probably like starting to tear up as I say it, and I say, I'm sorry, Isidore, but Sigmund, he's gone. He's dead. He was killed.
What do you mean he was killed?
I went to visit Nastya into his house and, well, shit went down. We were attacked by Sabbat, by the darkness, and I tried to help him, but it was too late. I went into torpor, and when I woke up, he was gone. Just ashes left.
You see, there was this moment when he first asked, like, that he hears you, but he doesn't quite believe. And then as you're speaking and explaining, it is beginning to sink in, and his eyes become more intense as he looks at you.
I will take a step closer to him and place my hand on his shoulder, gently.
Let's have a look, because I haven't rolled that in advance, just to keep things interesting. That's fine. So you see, as you place hand on his shoulder, he gazes at you with this increasingly angry, disbelieving, and desperate expression, and his body tenses. And then he starts crying, and he just collapses into like a sob, and
I
he
will
cries.
embrace him, and I will start crying too.
You start crying with him, and Daniel embraces both of you as well. And you're holding Isidore as his whole body is shaking, and he's crying.
I'm probably trying to say that I'm sorry, that I wish I could have saved him. For now, I'm leaving out the bit about Nastya. I want him to calm down first. And
Probably good call. He is sobbing, and through the sob, just says, "Who did this?"
Sabbat. Well,
Who from Sabbat?
I don't know. I never saw him before, but what happened exactly is that Nastya, we were on I was on my way back here, but then Nastya got a phone call, and then the darkness starting to spread, and then we went to Zygmunt and we tried to cut away. Zygmunt was trying to look for something that he could defend himself, something that he had prepared for this occasion, but it wasn't there. And then the man appeared from the darkness, and he said something to Nastya, and apparently Nastya was Sabbat all along. He restored her memories. And
I'm sorry, I need to. When you start talking about Nastya, how she was Sabbat, like he was crying, and then something in him breaks and he pushes you away. As the realization, like you see it in his eyes of Nastya being in some way a reason, and him not seeing it. And he just screams. Barely, you see he's barely holding himself together, and he screams just this inarticulate, long scream, and he grabs one of the shelves and just pulls it off the wall, breaks it. And he just spends some time smashing it and shouting. And then he collapses to his knees.
I will get on my knees next to him and I will try to comfort him.
Stop.
I know it hurts. I'm hurt too. Zygmunt was like a father to me. And I loved Nastya.
I know you do. But I can't promise you. And then he just says, if I find who did this, or if I see her again, they must die, Janina. They must die for this.
But Nastya didn't know. She didn't have her memory. I know that she's Sabbat and that she is...
She is Sabbat. Somebody needs to pay.
I know. We'll get the man who killed Zygmunt. We'll get him. Calm down.
I'll kill him. Fucking kill him. And he collapses into the sob again. And Daniel just comes up to him. He's like, it's alright, we'll get them. I'll help you. We will get him.
Yes, we will. I want to avenge Zygmunt. We have to. But for now, we were asked to not tell anyone until Prince is told and gives us some...
Of course we were. Fuck her. Fuck this Camarilla bullshit.
Well, I'm sure you can tell Zoya if you will keep it to each other. I'm sure it will only take a few days. How long can they hide something like this? Not for long.
As long as it fucking suits them. As long as they need to make whatever moves they're gonna make on his grave. And then he kind of pulls himself together, wipes the tears angrily, looks to you, looks to Daniel. Not gonna tell anyone. No one listens to me in Zoya anyway. You can keep your secrets. I don't care about the prince. I don't care about the primogen. I don't care if they tear themselves to pieces. I want to know who did this. And I'll find them and I'll kill them.
I will help.
As will I, says Daniel.
I loved Sigmund. He was like a father to me. I didn't spend as much time with him as you did, but in that short time, I knew he was a great man.
And Isidore, he doesn't quite cry, but he's kind of sobbing, but almost without any tears. He's trying to hold more tears back. He just hide his face in his hands, kneeling there on the floor. Thank you for telling me.
Of course. You have the right to know, and again, I'm sorry I wasn't able to protect him. I really tried, but I really didn't have a chance.
He kind of looks to you. Shakes his head. It means a lot that you tried.
Of course I would. He always protected me.
I wish I've been there. I wish I... He just kind of shakes his head.
We can't change the past.
No. No. And there is something that says in his face, this determination, this anger, but more cold anger. As you know, his mind sets on revenge.
I will comfort him a bit longer.
You stay with him for some more time. And he eventually regains some of his composure. Looks to you and to Daniel and says, thank you both. I think I need a moment more, but...
Are you gonna be okay?
Yes, I will be.
Okay. Well, if whenever you want to talk, I'm here for you.
He nods his head. And as you're leaving, you see Daniel just place his hand on Isidore's shoulder for a bit longer. And then says, I am with you, man, I've always been with you. These other things don't matter now. You know you can count on me. And Isidore just nods his head. And you leave. There. And step out of the room. You see Daniel glances back over his shoulder.
Well, it went as well as it could. At least he didn't frenzy.
Thank you for stepping in.
Of course,
I just couldn't break his heart.
I know. And I just embrace Daniel, like gently on the shoulder.
He embraces you. Are you going to be okay now?
I will be. I probably have to check on Bea. But first I'm gonna go to my room for a bit to freshen up and put myself together, because not telling it to Bea is going to be hard, but I will do as I was asked.
Daniel kind of glances around and says, don't tell anyone I said that, because I'll deny it and say you're making shit up to cover your ass.
I would
But
never.
if it would help you to talk to somebody, you can tell her. Just make sure she keeps quiet.
Okay, thank you, and don't worry. I would never put you on the line for me. Didn't happen in the past. But not on purpose, you know?
He doesn't seem to be thinking of that right now. He just kind of nods his head. He seems to be too distracted with everything that happened to even tease you about your many, many times when you put him in danger. And then he says, right, I'm gonna look if I'm needed.
Of course. We'll see each other later. Take care of yourself.
You do. And he turns around and leaves. And where are you headed?
I think first I go to my room to just look at myself in the mirror, and I've been crying a lot, so at least that I want to wash.
Yeah, you can wash up a bit.
So that's what I'm doing.
How are you feeling?
Well, for now I was so concerned with Zygmunt and telling Isidore that I was more caring about him, that I push the nasty thing on the back of my mind, but when I'm alone, I'm probably like anxious and very sad and heartbroken. That first, that I don't blame her because I know it wasn't her fault. But the fact that even if I manage to get her from the Sabbat, nobody here will, not even Anarchs or the Camarilla will want her back, so there is no future for her, but I still want to save her, because I still love her.
And you think of Nastya. And then do you go to find Bea?
Yes.
And you step out of your room to go find Bea. And I think this is a good moment to take a short break. We will be back in about 15 minutes to play through Bea's and Janina's conversation. So please stay with us, and we'll see you after the break. And welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. And let's jump right back in with Bea. You are sitting in your room, writing in your journal.
I have updated my to-do list, and in the process of doing so, I've spotted that Hannah is at our haven, which is where we need to go. That is a slight problem, because I don't know what Hannah does or doesn't know. So I make a mental note of that.
How do you feel about looking for Felicia? What emotions accompany that?
A sort of desperation, I guess. I need her back. I need her. I don't know. Maybe if I can get her back, then I can talk to her about everything that's hurting. Maybe she can make it better. But I'm struggling to have hope right now.
And as you're sitting with those feelings, Janina, you get to the door of Bea's and Felicia's room.
Okay, I will take a deep breath and I knock on the door and wait for Bea to come. Or at least at first I'm probably gonna wait if she's even there.
Bea, there's a knocking on the door again now.
Who is it?
It's me, it's Janina.
Right.
Can I come in?
Just a second, and
Of course.
I kind of shove my notes into a drawer, kick the ruined dress back into the bathroom and shut the door, and once again, activate Mask of 1,000 Faces. Try and look like a person who has not been crying for a long period of time.
Manipulation and performance, difficulty 7.
I'm really getting my use out of this particular discipline tonight. Oh no, that's 2 successes.
Sorry about that.
Oh, I remember that.
You know,
yes.
you know it.
Yes, we're
It
back.
will stop,
That's
in
fine.
10 minutes.
I remember that noise well. 2 successes.
2
So,
successes. Yeah. I will go and open the door, pretending that I am a perfectly normal person who is not upset.
I will pretend the same.
Wow. Okay.
So, Bea, until you start talking, I would say you're looking fairly neutral. Once you start interacting, I will make you make a roll. Janina, roll your self-control and subterfuge. Bea, roll your perception and empathy. Difficulty is 6 for both of you.
Oh, I have 4 successes. I dare you to beat me.
I will not. I have 1 success.
Right, so Janina is standing in a door. You don't notice anything particular about her mode.
Great. I think I'm a little bit too in my own head right now.
Sorry.
Right.
Let's try that again. Nina. Hi, yes, you can come in, sorry.
Of course.
I step back.
I will step into the room and close the door behind me. And I look around, trying to compose myself before I look at Bea. How are you?
I'm fine.
And
Is
now,
she?
Bea, roll your self-control and subterfuge, and Janina, roll your perception and empathy.
I'm fine.
Difficulty 6.
You lied.
Okay, I have 3 successes.
Oh. Oh. That is 6 successes.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Bea's fine.
I'm fine. We're both
Okay.
fine.
That's great. We can be so honest with each other.
Yes.
You're doing so well. Yeah, I'm fine.
What have you been up to tonight?
Just work stuff. What about you?
Same, just work. And I probably glance away, but I will try to remain calm and quickly try to make my thoughts go to my research so I could calm down. And so I didn't feel like I was lying as much, but I was.
But you rolled better than Bea on that contested roll, so you're maintaining your composure.
I'm looking straight at her, but very much I'm so focused on making my face do the things that it's meant to do that I'm not even registering what her face looks like.
And what are you doing now? Just chilling? Unwinding?
Well, you know me. I'm prepping for tomorrow. Joachim says that he can help with finding Felicia. I wanted to speak to you about that, actually. We're going to be going back to the Haven, and I believe Hannah is there.
Yes, she is. And yes, I will have to go first and make her ready for your arrival, or take her out if she won't be wanting to staying there. So I will arrive there before you. Thank you for letting me know.
Of course. I think Joachim's going to be doing some sort of ritual. I don't really know what it's going to entail, but I
think it's gonna be better to take her away for at least a few hours before it's done.
Does she know about us yet?
Yes, she does.
Okay. No, that really.
I think
you told her.
Yeah, I told. I remember I was telling Hannah, but was I telling Bea about what happened?
I don't remember. Let's assume. Well, Bea might not remember either.
I wouldn't remember anyway, so what does it matter?
Yeah. Okay. Doesn't matter.
I think you might have done, actually, but Bea might not remember that in that instant.
Okay, in that case, I will just tell that she knows about us, but that she's still scared and unsure. So that's why I left her there alone, because she wanted some time to think and be alone.
I'd appreciate it if you could.
I will take her away for a walk or somewhere. Maybe we could go to my work and she could help me do my research.
Janina, as you're thinking about Hannah and your research, roll your wits and intelligence with difficulty 6.
5 successes.
So you try to distract yourself by thinking about your research, and you now talk about it and about Hannah. And you remember Mr. Potocki, and you realize that he was a ghoul of Zygmunt's, and likely will be in trouble now.
I will adopt him.
It's just a thought that now crosses your mind.
Thanks. I wasn't thinking about it at all, but yes, I think as soon as Janina remembers this, my face probably goes more sad again, that I probably lose a bit of composure, because I just remember that I will have to tell him, and then something was going to happen to him, and I have to think about it. But I think I will offer him that I will take care of him now. I mean, what else can I do? That seems like the safest option.
Janina goes quiet for a moment as she's thinking about this.
Is the drop in composure noticeable at all, or?
There was like a moment where my face went.
Perception and empathy, difficulty 6. It's see if you notice that moment when Janina is not remembering to hold her composure.
That's better. Does insightful apply?
Yes.
5 successes.
Yes, you do see it very clearly. It's like her mask dropped for a moment, like she forgot to maintain it. And then it goes back to this composed face.
Is everything all right?
Oh, yes, everything's fine. I just remembered about something about my work. It's fine. You wouldn't understand it. It's work-related. It's okay. And I try to give her a smile.
Oh, your manipulation and subterfuge. Difficulty 6, but I'm gonna keep the 5 successes of Bea
Okay.
that she now has.
2 successes.
So is Janina basically trying to get Bea to drop the subject? Is that?
Yes. Yes, I am trying to make her feel that it's like about work and that I don't want to bother her with it.
And what are you feeling in that moment? Like the main sort of emotions.
I think sadness is probably the main emotion.
So you see that Janina is sad and she is lying to you. That everything is fine and that is
That's what we do in this family.
Could never be me.
That is what you do in this family. You see that this is a lie. Sorry, we can't hear you, Faye.
Sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. If you need me to take any hurt away.
No, I'm fine. I don't feel it. But thank you for offering. I just can't tell you right now. But I will. I was just told not to tell. Sorry. I don't like to lie to you, but I mean, I know that I trust you that you wouldn't tell anyone and you would keep it to yourself if I told you. But it's really big. Do you want me to tell you? Or do you want me to obey and not to tell?
What do you feel being asked that question, Bea? What's running through your emotions and head?
Well, the cold and logical part of my brain is going, no, absolutely, you should not tell me if you've been told not to tell me. That's the correct thing to do. And also there's just this gaping feeling of like a canyon between us. Just that distance growing further and further. And I smile, and the illusion of my face smiles slightly more widely. No, you're doing the right thing.
Okay. You will find out in a few days. I'm sure it won't take longer than that.
Wonderful.
Just, I'm not in trouble. That's
Well, that's good to know.
So don't worry about me. I'm fine. Daniel's fine too. Now I'm gonna name everyone who's fine.
You have to go through my list of people I can think of, and the list is very short.
What's running through your head, Bea, as you're listening to this? Janina's fine, Daniel's fine.
I mean, I'm worried, but I'm concerned, and there's also this flicker of something when she mentions Daniel. There's some sort of a hurt there, but I don't know what it is. And I'm just focusing on the idea that this is something she's been told to do. This is work. This is fine. This is fine. This is fine.
Are you uncomfortable with not being told?
I guess a bit, in the sense of I'm suddenly aware as to just the lies everywhere, including my own.
That's how we live.
Yeah. I guess I'm suddenly painfully aware of the fact that I just spent the evening with the Sabbat, and I'm not telling her this. And the fact that I'm already feeling this sort of like trust and bond between us breaking. I've not been feeling right about this for a while. And this is just kind of cementing that feeling.
But you reassure Janina that it's fine.
It's fine.
And you stand there in the bathroom,
I think
lying to each other.
Will you want me to help tomorrow, decide if I send Hannah away?
No, I think it's more important if you stay with her.
Okay.
She's still new.
Yes, she is.
I think it's more important to keep an eye on her and make sure that she's adjusting.
Okay, I will do that. Okay. Are you having any plans for the rest of the night? I'm not sure. Is it late?
It's really late. It's getting like pretty late. I think your plans include going to sleep.
Okay, in that case, I
That's about
retcon this question.
That's fair.
Yes, my plan is bad.
That's fair.
In that case, I just wanted to check up on you. Because I thought you weren't a bit, I don't know, stressed. Did your work went okay?
Yes, it was fine.
I'm glad. Okay, then I guess I will. No, Did Joachim told you when is the time when you will be going?
No, but I was just going to head to Elysium early tomorrow and just meet him there.
All right, in that case, I will not meet you in the morning. I will go straight to Hannah and we'll meet each other somewhere in the night. I will probably come back to the Haven with Hannah after a few hours when I will be sure that you will be gone by then. Well, I mean, you will probably can be there, but I mean Joachim and his work.
That's fair.
Okay, then good luck if we want to see each other tomorrow.
Here's hoping. I've just had an out-of-character thought that I think Janina was looking for clothes for Hannah. Was that? Am I misremembering this?
I think so.
Yes,
I think that can be arranged between you, or could have been.
Okay.
We can assume this has been.
All right.
Okay. Sorry, that just came to me.
That's very good point.
If Bea gives me some clothes for Hannah, then I will just thank her and say, I will tell Hannah it's a gift from you. And I'll give Bea a smile.
Oh.
And then I will, good night. And I leave the room and go back to my room.
And you better stay, closing the door. Janina leaves. And what's running through your head when you're left on your own again?
just that empty feeling of loneliness. And I'm lying to her. And I don't really trust her, and I don't think she trusts me. And I miss Mother. I want Mother to come back.
And missing your sire, you start feeling like your whole body feels heavier. It is time to lie down and go to sleep.
I crawl into the bed, pulling some of Felicia's clothes with me. And I go to sleep with her scent close to me.
And you fall asleep like that, thinking of your sire, Janina. You're also feeling increasingly tired, the dawn is approaching as you get into your room.
I just lay down on the bed, face down, and I just cry myself to sleep.
You start crying again until you fall into sleep. And you dream that night. As you fall into sleep, you dream that you are in a darkness and you hear Nastia's voice calling to you. You are looking for her, looking deeper into the dark all around you, trying to find her. But there is this sinking feeling in your chest, spreading to all of your body, the feeling that you've lost everyone. You remember Bea. You think of her, you want to find her, you call her name, but you can't see her, and you increasingly feel that she's gone. You're scared at the thought that you've lost her. You're scared at the thought that she's away. You can't find her near you. You look around. But there's nothing, just darkness and emptiness. And then Nastia's voice calling to you, calling you to abandon your search, stop looking for Bea, and to jump deeper into the darkness. Meanwhile, Bea, please roll your nightmares. Okay. You can both regain a point of willpower. You can also lose your blood for the night.
Sorry. 0 successes.
Right. So we'll come to that in a moment. Janina, you wake up from your dream. The memory of this loss of Bea and of Nastia's voice calling to you still ringing somewhere in your mind.
I just lay on the bed, not wanting to get up. I just roll back on my back, and I stare into the ceiling, and I just can't believe what happened yesterday. And that Nastia's gone and Zygmunt's dead. And I just feel hopeless and depressed. I'm trying not to cry right now, so I just close my eyes and just lay there for a moment or two. But then I remember Hannah and also Mr. Potocki, and I know that I just have to get up and get moving. So I just look at myself in the mirror, just put myself a bit together, like wash my bloody tears, and then just go straight out of the hotel.
And you do that, and as you do that, because of blood bonds, your mind keeps wandering to Bea and to this fear that you've lost her.
I'm probably very anxious, yes.
But you don't have to do anything about it. It's just there.
I just probably keep thinking of her, but in my mind I feel like it's just another thing that worries me.
Absolutely, yes.
Stress piling up.
Other things worry you as well. And you head out of Hotel Bristol straight into the night. Go to your haven to meet Hannah. Yes.
I'll probably try to feed on my way if there is a chance. I'm not like actively looking. If there will be an opportunity, then I will feed.
All right then. Meanwhile, Bea, you are running through a ruined city. You're looking for someone, looking for a man, looking for a woman. The ground is shaking around you. The air is shaking from a deafening sound of airplane engines. And you run, you're jumping over corpses of people who died in bombed buildings. And you remember the face of your mother briefly. You catch a glimpse of her in your memories, and you run, desperate to find her. You're jumping, and as you're jumping over the bodies, as the ground shakes, the corpses seem to be moving, spasming, thrusting up as if they tried to catch you, but you have to keep going. You shake them off. You need to keep going, find your mother, and you run ahead, her image fading from your mind, but you're trying to hold on to it. And you run, and you run, and finally, you feel your foot sink down into tissue and bones on one of the bodies under your feet. You see there's blood dripping from your hair. You see your hands are covered in blood. You look down at the corpse. You try to shake your leg free, and you see the face of the man you've been looking for lying there in front of you, the face of the man that you killed, hurt, pushed into rubble and ruin. But you want to keep running. You want to run, but the image of your mother fades from your mind, and the ground shakes and everything collapses under your feet. The man, the memory, the rubble, sleeping into nothingness. You wake up.
I wipe the tears from my cheeks and sit there feeling nothing but anxiety and loneliness. And eventually, I don't know, some sound from outside stirs me. And I look around the room, still feeling pretty hollow. I grab my journal, see my latest task. Very woodenly, I get ready for the day. Put on makeup. Practice wearing a smile. It looks wrong in the shattered mirror.
And you get ready, feeling this emptiness. The dream beginning to fade from your mind, but the emotions staying.
Eventually, I leave the room and head towards Elysium.
And ready, with a practiced smile, You head there to meet the kindred of Warsaw. Meanwhile, Janina, you are looking for someone to feed from, but you're not actively looking. So roll your wit and alertness with difficulty 8.
2 9s, 2 successes.
2 9s. So you're walking. You're not really actively looking. You're taking a fairly easy route there. But as you cross the Vistula River and you step down from Poniatowski Bridge, you do see a man who's been walking in front of you with his friend, separate from his friend, and one of them continues along the main road, but another one turns into this wooded area on the bank of the Vistula River under the bridge.
Okay, I will try to sneak up on him and drink.
Roll your stealth and dex and celerity.
Oh no.
Difficulty 6.
Okay, 2 successes. I had
That's
4
enough.
and 2 ones, so
Oh.
2 successes.
Well, that's still enough. He had only 1. Easily enough. You sneak up on him. He doesn't realize. And when you are hidden from the view of both the street and some of the houses that are built in this area by the river, you grab him and easily overpower him, bite into his neck, and start drinking. How much do you take?
2.
So controlling yourself with no problems, since you are fairly full.
Yes, I had 8 before, so now I have 10.
Yes. You drink from the man and leave him there on the ground?
Yes, I will prompt him like safely, so he wasn't fall into the river or anything. And then I will leave and continue on my way back to our haven.
You continue towards the haven to meet Hannah. How do you feel about Hannah, about meeting her right now, about taking her away? You know she still struggles with walking. She can walk. It's just effort.
I think it's gonna be a good distraction from everything, but then I know that I will have to face Mr. Potocki, and that's gonna be hard again. But I think I want to deal with Hannah now. I want to talk to her and distract myself with her and just have something else on my mind, at least for a bit.
And you walk towards your haven. Meanwhile, Bea, you step into the Elysium, looking absolutely proper, as always. You do see that there's a couple of people there. The first noticeable thing is that Mihai isn't there, and Stefania is sitting in his place, and near her is Anna Maria. Rahela and Eliza are also nearby. There's a couple of other people you don't necessarily recognize, and you do not see Joachim yet.
I think I mostly do like a very cursory glance over the room and not seeing him, just take a seat at a table and just focus on my notes. But I'm almost like staring at them, not really reading anything. And maybe sitting there focusing a little bit too much on just act normal. Just act normal. So who knows how normal that actually appears.
Roll your self-control and subterfuge.
I'm going to be exercising. I'm going to be exercising that a lot this evening, I feel.
Probably.
Well, I was initially worried because of the 1, but I'm not worried anymore. That is 4 successes.
Right. So you sit there, appearing very focused on your notes.
I'm so normal.
You hear footsteps coming up towards you, not from the entrance to the usual entrance to the Elysium, but from the other side, leading more from the different offices.
I glance up.
You see a figure of a man in his 60s, with very thin white hair on his head, wearing a very proper black suit, looking very somber, comes up to you and smiles. And there's something familiar about that smile.
Okay.
As he winks at you. Beatrice, may we talk?
Of course. And I will stand up. I presume that it's not a stay here sort of conversation.
He starts walking out of the Elysium and heading towards your room.
Okay.
And he stops there, waiting for you to open the door.
Okay, I think at this point I'm going to spend a point of willpower to try and figure out who this man might be, because I don't necessarily want to bring a random person into my room, but I have a faint feeling like I might know something about this. So I think I'm going to spend that willpower.
So you spend that willpower. And while you can't be exactly sure, there is a familiarity there that reminds you of your primogen, who you know is changing faces and has worn 2 already since you met them. This is the 3rd one. You're not certain, but this is the main thing. There's something about that wink, something about that smile.
Yeah. As I'm unlocking the door, I guess I will sort of just inquire. Primogen?
Smile widens. So you do recognize me. Come on, let's go in.
I open the door.
He steps in and sits in an armchair in the room.
I will also take a seat.
Looking around.
I also take a seat.
You look in need of guidance, although you might not realize how much you are.
Yes.
What is going on, Beatrice? Which of your paths is troubling you?
I feel alone. I feel lost. But I will find Felicia, and then things will be clearer.
Shh. That is a path you may follow, and there are tricks to looking for things. But you are a big girl now. You need to learn to forge your own paths. No harm in looking, but you must make yourself well. I see there's doubt in you. These choices aren't there.
Aren't there always?
Of course. And you must make your own. Not Felicia's. Not anybody else's. Maybe, if you are very lost, you can ask yourself, what would I do? That will keep you on track.
And what would you do?
Well, I'm here, am I not?
Sometimes.
Right now, I'm here when it is important and when I need to be.
Is something bad about to happen, or has something bad happened?
Bad things been happening for years now. The city is full of dead. There's always been bad things in the world. It's made of them, in a way. They are its fabric, much more than the goods that we try to cling on to. But that's all very somber. That's not what I wanted to talk to you about. You are searching, and there are different ways of looking. There are ways of looking and going places without moving your body. You should try it sometime. The things you can see.
How do you begin?
Well, and he raises his hand and bites his wrist and extends to you. You'll need it.
I drink.
How many times did you have your blood already?
One, I believe.
Then you can write out the second step. Step of the blood bond to insertum.
Sure can.
As powerful Vita fills your mouth and for a moment fills the entire world.
I try to pull away when it's polite. Don't know quite how well I do that, but...
You're not hungry, you can't do that. It's just a shame to let go. And he pulls his hand away after a moment. Well, that's a start. Now, at some point when you want to go somewhere, try to leave your body behind. When you need to. It's not quite practical to do it all the time.
No, imagine not.
It can be tempting.
I find myself thinking that sometimes I don't even feel like I'm in it anyway.
Now, remember me when you consider your choices and where I am when the things are truly important. You'll need it. You'll need it to hold on to. There will be difficulties in front of you, my child, but I want you on my side.
I nod. Understood.
If you ever need me when I'm not around, remember, you do not need your body. And he winks.
I smile at him.
Now, I believe you are waiting for somebody, and I have grave matters to attend to.
I wish you all the best.
He smiles and shakes his head. It's not me who needs the well wishes.
Well, I wish them anyway.
Hold on to your own path, my child. Don't let anyone sway you.
Thank you.
And he stands up and makes to leave.
I get the door for him.
He gives you one more smile, and then the somber expression returns as he continues along the corridor.
I head back towards Elysium on the traditional route. I don't know if that's the same route he's taking.
He turns somewhere else along the way.
Okay.
How do you feel about this conversation?
A little bit like there's maybe someone to turn to, but at the same time, I don't know. Somewhere between comforted and frustrated. Because it's so hard to remember everything that's going on. And I felt like I only half understood the conversation because I don't remember the context of what I'm doing, what I'm choosing. But I'm glad that my primogen came to me when I was feeling so lost. So I write it down.
You write it down and then head towards Elysium. Janina, you get to your haven?
I will knock.
You hear this voice saying, just a moment, and then the sound of Hannah, with difficulty still sort of hobbling a bit, getting to the door. And she opens it and looks at you, and she's a bit startled, like she expected someone else, maybe. And then there's this recognition, and she smiles at you instinctively, but also something in her body just takes a step back, and she sways a little bit, almost losing her balance.
Hi. Are you okay?
Yes, it's good to see you. I thought it was a neighbor.
Are you making friends?
Well, there's this woman downstairs. She helped me get some groceries, and she said she will stop by. I told her I just moved in.
Okay, good. I'm glad you're making friends. You can hang out during the day.
Come in.
I'm coming inside and I close the door behind. And I'll sit on the couch and I gesture for Hannah to sit.
Let's see. There is a moment of hesitation, and she keeps standing.
Okay. No,
What do you want?
I have some work to do in the hospital in my research. I don't remember if I told her. I know I told her that...
You told her, yes, that you would have a job for her at the hospital. Yeah. And you remember that she doesn't know how to read. You started teaching her.
Yeah. That maybe we can go to visit the hospital. You can look at how the work is done. And we can continue teaching you how to read as well. I am not the only one who lives here, and my sister, Bea, the one who helped you also get to the hospital, she has some business she has to attend here, and it would be better if you weren't here, because you don't know, not that anything would, like, you wouldn't be in danger, it's more like it's her personal thing, and I don't want to intrude. She knows about you, but, you know. We would be back in a few hours, and you would be left alone again.
You said I could have time to adjust.
Yes, I know, but what she's going through is urgent. It's just for a few hours. Yes, she is.
Is she actually your sister?
No, she's my sister because we just found each other. She's found family. Like you.
You see at that, she instinctively smiles, this happy smile at you, hearing you say that.
Well, it's just for a few hours, and we aren't going to be doing anything bad. We'll be in the hospital, working.
Don't walk very well still.
I'll help you. You know I'm strong. We can try to walk for a bit, and when you feel tired or will not walk well enough, you just grab onto me and I'll carry you. Or at least I will. In front of people, I can just help you to walk, and when we are alone, you can hop on my back and I'll carry you.
Oh, all right then.
Are you hungry, or did you eat?
I Yeah, I made some food. The neighbor downstairs. I'm sorry, I don't want to bother you with that. I'm okay.
No, you're
I'm
not
fine.
bothering me. If you want, I can wait. If you need to eat,
No, I've eaten.
so we can leave. Or do you want a moment to get ready and stuff? It's just for a few
kind of
hours.
glances around.
I like that she settled in our flat so nicely.
And she says, I'll get ready then.
Okay, I'll wait here. And I wait on the couch for her. Probably.
And she goes
Okay.
to your room where you left her to sleep when you first brought her there. And you hear her kind of rummaging through some stuff. She goes to the bathroom and you hear the water running. And then she comes out in a moment. But in the meantime, how are you feeling?
I guess maybe a bit better being in her company, because she's not completely human, but she still acts like one, and there's like some comfort in her for me. And since I don't have Nastya and Bel's not here, I feel like I can form a closer friendship with Hannah, and I hope that she'll get around and will be happy as much as a ghoul can be.
And she comes out of the bathroom and she smiles at you.
You look nice.
I'm ready to go. It's cold outside, isn't it?
Yes, I will probably brought her some
Yeah.
of the new clothes that Bea gave me.
She puts it on. It mostly fits. It is a bit loose on her. I can go.
All right, let's go then. And I help her, like hold her, if she lets me, like behind the waist, so she could like lean on me.
You do. You have to help her down the stairs before that because it's the most difficult for her. But she
down the stairs, I will just like carry her.
Oh, you just carry her down the stairs. Okay, and then you support her as she's walking. Still clearly in pain. With your wits and intelligence with difficulty 6.
Uh, 5 successes.
So you know, even as she's leaving the flat, that she is healing. She could heal faster if you gave her more of your Vita.
That will come later, maybe.
It's just a thought that you have that would restore her quicker.
Yes, but I don't want to like gross her out. I will ask her
fair.
in the hospital. After
All right.
we
Okay,
are working.
that's not much later. And you start walking with her through the streets of Warsaw. There is a lot of snow on the streets. She is struggling to walk on the snow. She's holding on to you very tightly. A few times she almost loses her balance. She's like, I'm sorry. I'm useless at this.
No, do you want me to carry you? You can hop on my back.
People will stare.
Oh, they won't. We're just 2 friends playing.
No, they will stare that you're that strong. People always look. Don't you know this?
Well, I know, but I don't care. Just for a bit.
Oh, okay then. Okay.
and I'll let her climb on me, and then I'll try to
Well, she can't
Wow.
quite. She will wrap her hands around you, and you need to lift her a
Yeah.
bit because her legs are nowhere
Yes, I
near
will.
strong for her to
I
lift
will
them
lift
like
her
that.
and I will start to run.
And you run.
Twilight.
And for the sake of you carrying her, it's slippery. Just roll your athletics, celerity, and dex.
Okay.
Difficulty 7.
Variety, Dex, and Athletics. Okay. What was the difficulty?
7.
Okay, 3 successes.
No problem at all. You run very gracefully on slippery pavements of Warsaw, carrying Hannah on your
I
back.
need some fun.
And people do indeed look at you, some of them raising their eyebrows. No one approaches, but you notice people look kind of curiously at you.
I just give them a smile and run.
And you do that. Meanwhile, Bea.
Blissfully unaware.
You return to the Elysium. And as you are getting close to the Elysium, you're not quite there yet. You see a man looking fairly familiar, the face evoking warm emotions. It is Roman, and he is walking alongside a tall, lanky woman, and they're walking at quite a brisk pace. They walk past you, they don't step into the Elysium. And the man glances towards you, looks like he is going to say something. What did you want to do?
I wanted to smile at him.
You smile at him. He gives you a smile. And he opens his mouth, but then he looks after the woman. And then he's like, sorry, I really need to go.
Okay.
And he walks, following the tall woman. And they turn into one of the other doors and disappear in the depths of Hotel Bristol. You notice that he almost looked like he wanted to speak to you and stop, but the woman would just not wait for him. And then he looked towards her and he thought better of it and followed her.
I think I stop and stand there for a moment. And that feeling of loneliness is back in full force again. Because I can only really carve out moments of time with people when they have the space for me. But I've got things to do, so I head back into the Elysium.
And this time, you see Joachim there. He smiles at you when he sees you.
Good evening.
Beatrice, good evening.
Are
you ready to go?
Yes.
He picks something up from the chair and you see that he has a long coat that he just throws over himself. He wraps a colorful, red scarf around his neck. Looks at you for disguise.
Of course. I imagine I've brought my coat as well, given I knew I was heading out, so I'll put it on as we head downstairs.
How are you? Did you manage to relax after work?
Yes, of course. I lie.
All your manipulation and subterfuge.
Yeah, because I don't feel so good.
I'm gonna roll for him.
Oh shoot! I should be doing this at a -1.
You should be doing all your rolls at
I
-1.
forgot about that.
Yes.
I'm so out of practice.
Well, time to start now.
I remembered. I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
Oh dear. A whole 1 success.
That's a roll-off. He's not doing very well either.
I'm sorry, Joachim. What? Alright, okay. That's better. Does misdirection come into this?
I wouldn't say so quite. Misdirection is more when you actively try to redirect someone's attention to something.
That's fine. I'm sorry, what was the difficulty again? Was it 6? Okay, in which case that's 5 successes.
Yeah, you lie.
I continue to lie my ass off about my mental state. What's new?
You do.
Yes. What about yourself? Did you get any relaxation in?
I'm afraid I don't really do that very often. But that's just life. I don't mind, really. I find, well, I like things to occupy me.
That's pretty familiar. Don't really know what to do with idle time.
No. I mean, good company helps.
Of course. That it does.
Right. Lead the way.
Of course. I say, and start heading towards the haven.
He follows, looking around at the city.
I think I'm relatively quiet. Unless prompted.
He, for some time, walks quietly, you see focus in his eyes, as he's clearly thinking on something. And then he kind of shrugs and relaxes. Turns to you. You're fairly quiet tonight.
Just a bit tired.
Haven't we all? Maybe some idle time would do us good, he says, and he laughs.
I think I also laugh in that sort of, I wouldn't know what to do with it if it hit me in the face.
So, any exciting traumatic sights lately? Remember, you promised to bring me in on those.
Oh god, he says that, and I think internally I'm slightly dying on the inside. Should I make another roll? He hits a little too close to home.
Go for it. If you want, go for it.
Yeah, I'm happy to suffer. -1. -1.
-1.
Oh, God. It's a fight to remember this every time. 2 successes.
He looks to you now. Like, clearly thinking of something, like he just noticed something in your face.
Yeah.
Are you alright?
And I consider lying to him, but then I realize that he has already seen through my lies, so... I mean, not really, but... Are any of us at the moment?
Well, there's different shades of not alright, I suppose.
I suppose.
How dark is yours?
And I sort of swallow as the vague face where the features are a little bit blurry of the man from yesterday. His feral expression hits me again. Pretty dark. But there are things to do, and they don't wait.
No, they don't. And he stops for a moment, and you are now entering Poniatowski Bridge, and he just leans on the barrier, looking up at the sky, looking to you. But you need to make sure you can make it through.
And I think that kind of hits me straight in the chest, and I'm suddenly trying very hard to not cry.
Roll your self-control. Difficulty 7.
After the ones? No, I'm crying in front of the Tremere. God damn it.
Was it 0 or was it a botch?
It's 0.
So you start crying.
I'm not sobbing, but yeah.
But it's not a full-on breakdown.
No. I think I quite quickly move to sort of lean on the barrier next to him and tilt my head down so that my hair kind of falls down around my face. Since I have just enough composure to do that before. Well, maybe not before, but during.
He, still holding on to the barrier, almost like leans out while holding on to it to look at you very casually. I'm sorry if I hit a nerve, but as you said, we're all going through hard times, and you looked, well, to not be doing very well all of a sudden.
Thank you.
If you need anything, we can just talk.
And I look up at him and sort of look him in the eye. And there's like maybe the faintest little bit of concern in the back of my head, but I can't remember why. Just at the idea of opening up to him, but at the same time I feel incredibly vulnerable. And yeah. I think I focus and think back on my notes. I'm working on quite a delicate task at the moment. And that's when it kind of hits me that actually this was a task. That I didn't choose to do it for myself. And then there's kind of this confusion. There's a bunch of wires are crossed internally. And I think at that point I'm going to spend the point of willpower to try and put things together, to try and remember what was happening. Because I'm suddenly really confused.
You can do that, absolutely. So you do remember what happened from promise you made to Lady Leocadia, to the task you got from the Ventral Primogen, how you were supposed to make Sabbat trust you so that you can find a weak spot, an opportunity Camarilla can use against them using Arik as a bait.
And there's kind of this mixture of feeling disgust at myself and also relief that I'm not betraying the Camarilla. I'm actually doing what they've asked me to do, but also terrified at what I'm doing. And there's a whole bunch of emotions going on there as I kind of put two and two together, and I just kind of stand there with my hand over my mouth for a bit as I process that. I'm working on something that's dangerous and quite isolating. And it's hard to talk to anyone about it. Well,
you don't have to tell me the secret details.
I appreciate your understanding in the matter, but well, let's just say that one of the people that I might have turned to might not have the same level of understanding and also has very loose lips. And with my sire being missing and my primogen only showing up in the most dire of circumstances, it's difficult to really turn to anybody. And when your head's already a mess, it becomes messier. And then I just feel this hint of shame as I say that. I'm kind of angry at myself for saying that to him.
He leans back against the barrier, relaxes a little bit. Well, I might not throw it around, but I know a thing or two about isolation. I don't really discuss or share how things made me feel. Who would listen? My sire doesn't want to hear it. No more than is needed. And I wouldn't want to bother him with that.
Well, you've listened to me. I'm more than happy to listen to you.
He smiles.
And I smile back.
Roll your charisma and persuasion. With difficulty 8.
That's fair. Me trying to get a Tremere to open up. Yeah, good luck. 4 successes.
He gives you this. At first, the train sort of smile, and then it fades into a sadder one. Let me just make one roll. Right. All right. So, I'm okay. No, really. Well, I know things are hard, but I suppose I got used to not pushing too hard, bending in the wind. But when I struggle, as I said, my Cyrus is only as much as it's necessary to keep me from breakdown, and he doesn't do that anymore. I'm supposed to experience for that now. But there were times during the war we survived because we were lucky to be outside. And I know I've lost most of my clan. But that wasn't the hardest. I never regretted the embrace. I never minded, really. I suppose I'm not the type to regret such things. I guess I wouldn't have been what I am if I was that kind of type. But I know what's been happening in the mortal world as we were hiding from the Zimishi. I know the people of my city, people who would have been my neighbors, my family, were being murdered. And I knew that. And I wanted to help. I knew I could. You know, some of what we can do. But that was the one thing I couldn't do. That was the one unforgivable thing. And even voicing this anger. I could have voiced it, I know. My sire would have spoke to me and explained to me why that can't be. Just enough to convince me, as he always does. But there was no use talking, because talking was only more inaction. And it was lonely in my head, and I felt I've lost everybody. But it's past, and I'm here, and I like being here. I like surviving, I suppose. So he kind of gives this unhappy, slightly twisted smile. I suppose loneliness is not enough to destroy a person.
I'd like to roll self-control to see if I can touch him.
Sure. Difficulty is 7.
One success.
You can touch him.
I reach out and just put a hand on his elbow.
He smiles at you.
I'm sorry. for what you lost and the hardships that you went through. And I'm also glad that you survived.
He looks to you, nods his head, and looks up at the sky, leaning, not quite to a dangerous extent, but almost looking at the stars and the moon above.
And I take my hand back and I'm leaning against the barrier and looking out over the vista of the river. I knew a boy during the war who hated the inaction. He hated it so much. But he lost himself to that. I'm glad you didn't lose yourself.
Thank you. I'm glad as well. And he looks to you, and I hope whatever's happening with you, you won't lose yourself to it.
Thank you. And I give him a smile, and it's one of the more genuine ones I've had in a while.
He smiles at you. You can talk to me if you need to. Regardless of what some might say, I don't tell my sire everything.
And you can talk to me if you need to. And the benefits of memory problems is I probably won't tell anyone because I won't remember.
He smiles. I will remember, and I'll remember to check in on you.
Thank you. And I pause and pull out a handkerchief and wipe my face.
Now, should we go find your sire?
Yes. And thank you. Go ahead.
He looks more serious for a moment. Thank you as well. Now let's see if I really learned how to do this thing.
I believe in you.
And he relaxes, and in a more relaxed way starts walking with you across the bridge.
I walk with him.
And you head towards your haven. Meanwhile, Janina, you carry Hannah across the city to some people looking at you quite surprised. And quite quickly, you arrive at the teaching hospital where you have your lab.
Okay, I will go straight to my lab with Hannah.
Do you let her go, or do you keep carrying her?
I will probably let her go in front of the hospital before we get inside, and then I will help her, support her when we are walking the stairs and around the hospital.
You help her into the hospital. There is someone there at the reception, but they recognize you now. They don't really. First, they don't really question that they look to Hannah. With this kind of question on their face, you think they're wondering whether she needs help, whether she needs to be directed to be examined somewhere.
I just smile. She's with me. It's okay.
All right. And they let you go.
And then I will lead her to my lab, where I will show her, I will sit her somewhere and just start to maybe explaining things to her.
She's looking around the lab, absolutely amazed and bewildered. You start explaining all this, and she's like, I'm sorry, I don't...
I probably explain it in I tried to explain it so she could understand it, so it wasn't any terminology, nothing like that.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to get, she's pretty overwhelmed by all this. You show her, the equipment, and you feel like she's never seen things like this before. It is very new to her. It's not that she's not following anything, but she's definitely just amazed at where she is. And when you talk about ultimately removing blood from corpses.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So you just show her the syringes, the samples.
Yes. That we work with blood. That's probably that I will.
And you drink it. That's what it's for.
Not only. It's generally for everyone. For us and for the people. So it could be used in the hospital.
All right, so... Okay. And she is kind of following the basics that you explained to her. She nods.
I will probably explain some basics to her, and I will just ask her if she wants something for drink, that I can bring her tea or something, because I want to go to see Mr. Potocki.
She's like, let me check actually. I'm alright. Well, if you want to, I can stay here on my own if you want to go.
Okay, I just want to check with my supervisor here. I just want to tell him that you're here, and because he was wanting me to bring some help, someone who could help me with my research, and I will just inform him, and maybe later I can acquaint you with him.
I still don't understand what I'm supposed to do here.
It's okay. I will explain everything later. Just give me a moment. For now, you just can explore the room, the equipment. I trust you to not break anything.
I wouldn't want to break anything now.
Don't worry about it. It was just a joke. I'll be back in 15 minutes.
All right.
And I leave her and go to Mr. Potocki's office if he's there.
So as you leave, you see that she's sitting very still, and she's looking around the lab, still with this curious, slightly intimidated, slightly amazed look. And you get a sense she's been to the doctor probably, but never to the setting where doctors conduct that kind of work. And you leave her there and go to look for Mr. Potocki.
Yes.
And what's on your mind? How do you feel about that?
Nervous, anxious, sad. But I want to be, if he doesn't yet know, I want to be the one who breaks it up to him. So I will knock on his office.
And you do. And I think before you have this conversation is actually a good moment to wrap up for tonight. So thank you so much for playing.
Thank you for running.
And thank you to everyone who's been watching. We really appreciate you being here with us after our summer break to continue the story of Bea and Janina. We hope you enjoyed it. And will join us again in 2 weeks for what happens next. That will be on the 26th of September. It will be the same time, 6:30 p.m. British Summer Time, here on the Lamias channel. We'll hope you see you then. And until then, have a good night. Thank you. Bye.